objectives. So aims, they don't use a purpose, right? Aims consider them as a statement of society expectation and desire. Societal. Mean that, okay, what society wants. Right? So what the society expecting from this education curriculum like this. That's a kind of a statement. And it's really broad, it's not specific, and creates a statement of the education intent. So we can see later, you don't give the like yes, okay. The statement should we can see later. So you don't give the specific, we gotta provide higher education, and we should provide higher education. Then it's very broad. What is a higher education, right? And that one is it's not specific. And aim stage wants to be hopefully achieved by the curriculum, hopefully, right? That we hope there's a set. And they are purposely stated generally because they are developed for the general level of education and by society. It's not yet developed to the specific, but still it can be, it's really general. So aims are considered to be developed at system level, such as education department or systems. Example, the Tasmania State of Education System or the Catholic education system is like just institutional level, right? It's not a national level, state, like a California state education. Who can see? And so that's why aims are really long term. You cannot. It's a big umbrella, like a big umbrella of education goals and object, and that's why you don't have to change it every time, right? But it's a big umbrella provide nature, and then we cover a time span over many years, and even entire school life of the child. That is the aim, so maybe basic direction of your education. Maybe like this, we need to raise a good citizen. The goal of education was the aim is to raise a good citizen, right? Why is a good citizen? Like this is really general, broad. That is the aim. And here is aims. It's a very common agreed national goal for school in Australia. Some of the examples here and here. And to provide excellent education for all young people. What is excellent education? We don't know what is excellent education, right? And so being one which developed their talent and capacity to full potential and is relevant to society, social and cultural and economic needs of the nation. What kind of skills? What is the need? What are the needs? Right? That is very general. Can you see that one? And you can see a lot of questions from the statement. And another, there's Australia from the common and agreed national goals, for schools, and then here is, to enable all students to achieve a high standard to learning and to develop self-confidence, optimism, high self-esteem, respect for others, and then achievement of personal excellency. We don't know what it's about. But promote equality of educational opportunities and to provide for groups with special learning needs. So, we could make a lot of questions because it's really general, right? And to respond to current and emerging economic and social needs of the nation, by emerging economic and social, maybe 10 years ago is different, right? And provide those skills will allow students maximum flexibility and adaptability in their future employment and other aspects of life. It's really general, right? And even though time is changing, and still we could use this statement. Okay. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we could use this one. Now, still, provide the foundation of future education and training in terms of knowledge and skills, respect for learning and positive attitude for the lifelong education. It's really general, really broad, and using a lot of words in positive way. That is the aims. What is the goals then? Always think about, and this is aim is a very general statement of the direction of their education. That's the intent, right? Curriculum intent, and aim is a really big umbrella, gives kind of a basic direction of their education. And goals are specific and precisely worded statement of curriculum intent, and from the aims. Okay, like this, and then maybe goal it could be the more specific and word statement. Okay. The goal is to raise a good citizen. And then, why is a good citizen? And maybe like this, and goal is like how can we good citizen break down to what is a good citizen? Keep the law well, right? Observe the law, like this, and then what? And how can try to helping others, then participate actively in voting, like this, and so right over there, because they need to reflect their opinion like this, and then we can categorize in little detail, like just good citizen is an aim, and then what's a good citizen, like observe the observe the laws very well, and then what? And participating and participating voting and all kind of other stuff. I think observing the traffic light and right. And goals are directed toward the student achievement by emphasizing content and skills. Right? More close to put the content there and put the skills there. Okay? More toward. It is considered them as a ways the institution and organizations within societies and facilitate the achievement of education's aims, right? Always, this is we are achieving this one. Okay, this school has this aim is here, but they specifically, we are achieving with this curriculums, right? We are achieving, we provided this curriculum, we provided these resources, we provide this environment like this. And so their goal is ways to which education institution generally address their aims, right? And they generally say our goal is like this, right? Or more specific than the aims. And what is the object then? It's objectives and okay, there's a curriculum is there and goal is there. And then how can you carry out this one in specific setting? Specific, really specific statement, and which students should learn through the interaction with this curriculum inside the curriculum. Maybe subject and classroom, right? How it's very specific, and like this good citizen. And we have keep the law and blah blah blah, and then how can we let them keep the law? And maybe your goal is let them understand a certain law. Maybe understanding what's a constitution, teach them constitutions, like this, right? And more specific, teach the constitution and teach the social law and any other stuff to make a good so keep the law. If they don't know, even with law, and if you don't make any critical mistake and crime, and you're fine, even though you don't know, right? As long as you become a lawyer, and that's why you know a lot of stuff, but still there is a specific area, criminal, civil, and what's a company, and what's a and nature, environmental, and different lawyers out there, right? So objectives and the specific statement of a curriculum, the intent are very specific, and why you will teach a classroom. And express objectives expressed in the term of the change in learner behavior. Okay, specific, okay, we are expecting to this one, and how you can do it, and then we're going to provide the knowledge and skills. So derived from our analysis aim and goals, and then objectives are phrased precisely using technical language and frequently in behavioral terms. Specific, you need to do this one, you need to do this one, like a specific behavioral terms using. So objectives are seen as the working statement whereby education institution translates a goal into a specific statement of educational intention. Just a goal is a goal, right? If you don't have a specific step, then carry out this one. Okay, I would like to go. And like this, I'm gonna get the class, I'm gonna get the A in this class, right? And this is your goal. And then what is your objective? How can you achieve this goal? Okay, objectives, I never miss the class. Okay, I study every day. I study myself 3 hours for this class on the day, the class, and that's a specific you need to do. What is when is test coming? I gotta study before 1 week ago, and then during the week of the test week, and then I just review like this. There's a specific actions is there, right? And maybe there's objectives. If you go maybe like this, and your goal is to get a good grade, right? Good grade is kind of more like the goals, and how can your goal is like B, A. So I'm gonna get a class A like this, and then you gotta just specifically express that this is objectives. objectives are invariably devised by teachers or group of teachers who use within the schools or group of education within the institutions. And it's a very invariably it's very different and it's not fixed, right? And it's very short-term in nature, such as they cover the lessons, day and week term or semester. It's very specific and short-term. You gotta do it, right? So just think about and objects. I'm gonna get a good grade. What is a good grade? And maybe there is aim is okay. Student needs a good grade. So what is a good grade, right? And then and you can think, okay, what's the goal is I'm gonna get a B on this class. It is a pass, but A requires too much time, and I gotta do this one, and but this is not my this is selective class and not my interest too much, but a little bit interested, but I'm gonna take in this class, and then like this, and then I'm gonna get the class B, so the objectives, right? And the whole semester how can you get a B, right? That is kind of it's very specific and short term for one semester, right? And maybe objectives, and then just think about through the semester how can you get a B, and then each week have a specific object, and then each test you're gonna do specific object, and then there's differences, right? And then aim is there, and then you can maybe narrow down to goals, more specific, and what is the direction of how the student shows behavior, and what object is a specific one, right? Here is a kind of comparison that provides print, and then there's a criteria is there, and then there's the aims, the goals, and objectives. This is summary of the what I said, and let's quick review about what it's about. What its definition is. Aim is a really vague and generally phrased statement of the what should be achieved by curricular, right? And then goal is more precisely phrased statement of the curricular intent, derived from the aims, and then you gotta it's really general and you gotta be specific. And goals, and then what's objectives is very specific statement of a program intent, and it's from goal. It's a relate to goal. If you not relate to goal, that's not your cannot be your object of the curriculum, right? And expression is broadly, the goal is broadly and non-technical language, but what's the goal is generally placed in non-technical language, although more precise than aim. But what's the objectives and then technical language use the precise keyword, maybe use the behavioral terms, and they use a really specific word, how they change, how they do, what they do like this. And then what about time is very long term, it's like 10 years, but that one is a mid-term, mid to long term, depends on how they translate from aims, right? Maybe 5 years, goal of education, and then maybe aim is it's really general, right? And then maybe in 5 years, the goal is really focus on this one to achieve like this, and then maybe medium and too long term is very short term, like day, week, 1 semester, quarter, whatever, right? And stated by society through those forms such as politicians, education system, and major inquiries, and pressure groups. Depends on, it's really general, but usually they made this statement, society. But this goal is like educational authority and system, region and subjective level curricular committee, and then school policy document. And so, little bit this one is by the society, by this one is more specific educators and related education, educational organizations. What about this one is objectives? Is okay, how can you achieve the goal? And then if you don't provide specific things and skills and knowledge in the classroom, like this one is like a subject, and then this one is like student learn from the subject. But subject is a really, really specific one, right? So classroom teachers individually, group of teachers sometimes, some curriculum documents. So usually there is a school direction is here when I get to the syllabus, and then describe of this class, and then what is the and then what is the school's philosophy, and then what is the for the you can see the what is the schools and what is the this class in curriculum, and then what is the description in my teaching, and what is the goal. Objectives, right? My objectives are right here. Classroom. An example, school should enhance the learner's self-concept. What is the enhance self-concept? What is the self-concept? Enhance. What level? We don't know any. We don't know the baseline. And then, so learner will examine the South African curriculums. Can you see the one? And a little bit, see the goal is a little bit examine the South African curriculums. More specific than the other one. And give the pen and paper learner will analyze the roles in the curriculum. They do specific things, right? There is a basic the example is more is there, but think about and developers, and then there is a politicians, there is societies, and education always related to society, right? And then think about and developers, how can they develop, right? And syllabus committees, and they think their subject and what they need, and then they lay out every basic goals, and then object, and then when they students go to classroom, and then what they learn day by day class to achieve the goal, and then goal is what under the aims, derived from the aims, right? There's a really important definition, concept that you need to know. So, how can we get the source of the aims and goals and objectives? How can we get the source? Maybe in your experience, the experience is very subjective. It's not objective. We try to be objective, and then what? We need to get the empirical resources. And how the scholars, and then just think of a study of societies, and a lot of society, how when I show there's a lot of how they consider education, what they want to control, and empirical mean that they study about it and publish it, and try to show in a certain level. It's not a basic level, right? So theories and society, the study of the society, and then by looking at the existing society, educator can pose the questions. What do we wish to pass on the next generations? Right? What we need to do, to pass on to next generation. To ask this question of a posing question must be posed, and then what knowledge is, just think about. And the question is what knowledge, So, so what knowledge is of most words to pass on to the next generation, right? How do you answer this question with back to your view of curricular and what your perspective should do should it be included therein? So if you think about what this question, how do you wish to pass on the next generation, and then something, and then there's a lot of scholarly articles and published there. And there is societies, and then we consider the direction of education and how they did, what is the suggestions like this. Here is an example of one of the empirical resources studies about society, and then growing acceptance of multiculturalism and ethnic diversity as an important component of the school curriculum. And pressure from what has been called economic determinism have influenced the nature of the curriculum intent. That is a study of societies. Do you know what kind of things? And what about the study of the learners? If you see the educational learners and then journals, and because a lot of materials out there. And by examining the needs of learners, educator can determine what should be included in curriculums, right? So empirical resources mean that if you want to set the aims and goals and objects, so we gotta get to the empirical resources. It's not just an experience. Others' experience. Sometimes a lot of people study scientifically and systematically, and they publish, and it really gives a lot of insight and breadth of the scope, and then you can see that's why. And so the study of learners is the same as well, right? And you can see a lot of different environment and different background and cultural background and learning experience and learning styles, and it's a lot of things out there. So that's why we need to get some information there to set our curriculum intent. Philosophical resources mean that provide suggestions as to what happened to children and adolescents in our schools, and then curricular developers need to pose philosophical questions. What is a good life? What is the values? What is the truth? Do you remember ontology and epistemology and axiology like this, and relate to knowledge and what is reality and values like this, and then we can get the resources out from there and then reflect the curriculum intent. What kind of value you are looking for? Project, right? To students. There is a subject matter resources. It's a very common, most common source of aims, probably subject matter in every college, every schools, and you can see, right? And just when you teach social science, and then what is about social science, and so, and we can see what you are looking from, and then what is about, and how they relate to us and community and the world, right? So subject matter mean that what kind of subject are you going to teach, right? And social science and math like this. What about curricular concept? Do you remember the curricular concept that we look at, academic and cognitive progress, and then social reconstructionist, and then and humanistic and technological like this. Yeah, so the concept and the curriculum concepts provide also and an influence over the selection of aim and goals and object. Because you're gonna kind of implant a specific way that kind of what is the humanistic and concept, right? Here is the who really favor the humanistic concept, and the humanistic concept is always thinking about the learners' interest, and then how can provide kind of design in best way in learners. So example is right here, and then the humanistic concepts tend to support the inclusion of humanistically oriented aims, goals, and objects. So these two may be emphasized as enhancement of individual concept, who you are, how you think about yourself, and then personal interaction skills, not the whole, but really focus on individuals, human being, and understanding approach towards others, and so on. And a lot of topics to help the learners, specific learners, not the general stuff, right? That one is and gives them. If you think about how you process and what kind of academic performance, all kind of stuff, and then consider it, and then what is the goal, what is the aims, goals, and then objectives is a little like more easier than the draw because it's a specific topics already said, and then you can take it into the classroom, right? Here is a situational analysis. A situational analysis is a kind of we already did, and then they at the end of the situational analysis, there is a recommendation actions, and then it's already suitable for the schools and then others, and what we can see, and then how can we can see the goals and the objects to put into curriculums. So really schools maybe really emphasize and certain skills and knowledge based on the situational emphasis, right? So the student can have more opportunity to learn, to have something really led in the classroom, and then kind of the problematic in students, right? Situational analysis. What about educational policies, and then developers, and just think about policy, school policy and district policy, and what about national policy, national education policies, and then just educational policies, and we cannot ignore them, right? We can get some, consider to set the aims, goals, and objects. He's really emphasized on the object because it really closely relate to achieving the goal of education. So he gives a more idea about objectives. And what is the objectives? We already learned that basic definition and characteristics. And he said objectives are functions. There's three functions of objectives, and then first of all, provide a sense of direction to anyone. Sense of direction to anyone interested in the educational process, such as students, teachers, administrator, parents, and district superintendent, and so on. So we can see visually, and we can see how they can do in the classroom, right? That is an object. And there's another function is another function is to provide the basis for rational logical curriculum planning. Right? It's not here and there. Just think about object is here and why we need this one, and then what is this one is connected to the other class, and what is connected to the other class, like this. It focuses logically. Right? That's another function is called. And what about, because we already considered from a situational analysis and other resources and empirical resources, everything is related and just coming down to object, right? And what about the last one is the basis of student assessment. If we don't have any object, and then we don't know what student is doing. That's why goal is really important, the aim is really important, goal is important, and object is important. But object is a specific things that we can assess the student. And just think about we assess a student, we consider the goal, meet or not, whole education. And then what about aim, right? There is the types of objectives, and then there's a general or unit objectives, and then specific and instructional objectives. What is the general and unit objectives? And like this. Student will use and understand the fractions. What's the fractions? It's a general and unit. It's talking about subtraction unit. So 1G, 2G, maybe decimal. They won't talk about it, right? It's a general. Just think about subtraction is right. And then here is another example is the student will analyze for the terms of the national life. And we don't know how they will analyze, but the object is like this, but there is no specific area criteria, but there's a clear actions there, right? They will analyze this, the rule with the robbery on the arms, the robbery on the arms, and there were town calls for the town, terms of its nature of life. It's not just reading, analyze, which is good, which is, what can we learn, and what is distributing point and like this. Agree or don't agree like this. And then here is another general object. Student will construct a four-legged wooden table using building joint and glue. So there is no specific steps and what machine they want to use, right? What kind? Just a four-legged wooden table. What's the shape it doesn't like? Yeah, just general, right? Here's another one. Student will prepare nutritionally balanced 2-course evening meal using the microwave oven. What is nutritionally? It's really general, right? That is a general and you need objectives. And maybe usually I put the syllabus and sometimes generally mean understand something, but there is a specific, maybe they understand what's the process of a curriculum. It's a general. What about the specific and instructional object? It's really specific. There is instructions that you will follow, and then they can achieve that one. And then student will understand and draw triangles, squares, and rectangles using protractors and compass, right? What they use, protractor and compass. They use, they can draw the triangles, and squares, and rectangles. Understand? That's instructional, more specific, right? Here is a student will demonstrate skills of trapping or passing the ball in soccer. How can they use the ball? And they're gonna teach the method and then practice, right? What about distinguish between the civil, soldering, and arc welding? And what about student will understand the 5 principal causes of operation revolutions? There is 5 causes specifically there, right? They're gonna present in the classroom what is the causes, and then they got it. Here is 2 baked scones with sultanas given and correction ingredient, right? With correction ingredient given. So there's instructional specific and directions there, and there is specific and instructional object, and general and linear object is right there in the that's an object, right? And then here is a behavioral object, and another object is a behavioral objectives, and description of student observable and criminal behavior. So observable behavior, right? How they behave, and then at the end of what kind of behavior we are expecting. And the statement of the important condition under the behavior to be occurred as condition. If they have certain conditions and then they are behaving their way, that is called one of our objects. And so especially the people who struggle with mental issues, and then they are okay in normal situation, but certain situation they kind of react differently, and then you educate them, and it comes with the support and knowledge and all kind of stuff, and then when they got into a certain situation that they don't want to be in, and let them expect what kind of behavior they want because of your education conditions. What are the definition of standard acceptable performance? That's a standard, right? Okay, you better get at least a C to pass the class, right? That's the standard, behavior objectives. Can you see what the functions object? Yeah, the objectives is really important. And then how can make the objective really effective objectives? Usually when you see the curriculums and then there is a clear description of the goal of what is aims of class, like a whole curriculum like Christian education is there, and always there is there, and then each class have there is a goal is there, right? When I get some syllabus and school always mentioned about what is they will really achieve in the class, and then there is a class, and then teachers, so there is a specific goal is there, and then teachers thinking about, they'll describe the class and what they wanna want, and then I need to break down to the class and then to set the specific goals through the whole term class and whole semester, and then each week, and then each year I have to deal with the different topics, and then to connect it with the whole class, right? That is so here's a figure the effective objectives. We could make a lot of objectives, but it's really effective. It's working. That's our question. So effective objectives like comprehensiveness and objectives must cover everything established by the previous design, aims, and goals. That's a comprehensiveness. And always, so objectives always connect to the what? Goals. Goals connect to the what? Object. But that's why object is supposed to cover the aims and designs. That is a very specific way that we can implement what you really want to do, right? And if aims and goals gives a curriculum, it's a broad purpose, but objective provides specific intent. Specific intent, right? And in the specificity and the objectiveness must be comprehensive. So, supposed to be really include, covers goals and aims, right? It cannot be separate from them. It cannot be individual. And another, the element is consistency and cohesiveness. Must be consistent with each other, with the goals from which they come from. Consistent. Aim said blah 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 this, and goal said blah blah this one, and then supposed object is belong to what goals. Yeah, there is a consistency in content in goals. Right? So when you're constructing the objective, and it is really important to see the consistency. And to maintain a logical development of extension of the fundamental curriculum intent, objectivity must be consistent with statement of aims and goals, right? Which really makes sense and show logic, and then it's really important. The consistency is really important. What about attainability? Attainability means that you could achieve these goals at the classroom? When you take this one and then can you achieve this one? Sometimes it's really ideal, it's really beneficial, looks beneficial and really good, but it's not make it by learners. Nothing. It's not nothing, but still it doesn't work. So always think about it, it's attainable. The learner tries, maybe there's, even though there is challenges there, but still learner can make it. Okay? Learner can be going through and they can pass and they can get some knowledge and skills. What about suitability? It's really suitable. It has relevancy. What about validity? Validity means the objectives will reflect the reality that purport to represent. It's logically right. Right? And so objective must state what we want them to state. It's a validity, right? Systematically, if you go and learner should be saying something that we really want at the end of the class, at the end of the education. And specificity means that how can you measure the goal, object? How can you evaluate the object if there is no specific direction and goal? And that's why it's really important. Sometimes we say generally very well, and then we cannot narrow down to goal to object. It's hard to it's hard to do influence in curriculum, and it's hard to evaluate. Right? That is really important. So when you evaluate, if you don't know, two generalists have a lot of different interpretation and the way, and they have their own understanding there. But there is a specific criteria, specific way, and then we gotta follow it. Right? Okay, so curriculum outcomes. Think about we are talking about today curriculum intent. What is the goal? What is the aims, goal, and object is really important. And then what are you expecting from from education? And there we need a specific outcome. And that's why even though we don't have an outcome, it depends on how much we achieved, and then but still we can evaluate it, but still evaluate later. But what are we expecting? If they if the learners learn through this curriculum, what are they make the outcome through this curriculum? We gotta expect. Maybe outcomes are different, depends on the learners, but still, if they are the average standards, average student and standard, what are they expecting, right? So curriculum outcomes is about the statement of the role of outcome in the curriculum development process, right? So we gotta clearly say what we are expecting. And just think about, even though we have a specific and goal, and there is no, and then sometimes I know we did this one, but what is the expected outcome? It's not clear. Well, what is the goal of your whole purpose, right? So the intended result of the teaching and learning process is identified in the curriculum document, and maybe syllabus. There is outcomes, right? Express the set of a goal, broad, comprehensive, accessible and observable indicator of student achievement. Maybe there's a grading scales there, and then there's a homework scales in there, and the attendance scales there, and right? It should be comprehensive. So what are the intended outcomes, right? And that's why, and always there is there, and homework is there, and then basic direction is there, and objective and expected outcome is there, and there was a required rating and recommended ratings, and what else, and class schedule is there, and then what is a homework, and how they kind of grade homeworks, and then what about quiz, and then what about finals and midterm and final, if they, also each same portion and how they grade, right? And then there is a kind of rating is there. How many percent is A and B and C and like this. So curriculum outcomes and a set of curriculum outcomes statement should cover what? Knowledge and skill domains of the subject syllabus, also attitude and values domain as well. So a lot of times our education is really focused on the skills and knowledge on test, right? And quiz and midterm and finals and projects. But it's hard to measures attitudes and values, especially maybe teachers for the primary and secondary education. And teachers write note for the student every semester, maybe school is every year, maybe should write down about the behavior, attitude, and based on your observation, teacher's observation. And then maybe you can, in the beginning, all right, we're gonna have this outcomes expecting, and the end of what kind of attitude they shows, and then how they say and how they behave, and because their value is kind of how much they getting and how they change, right? But it's not easy though. It's not easy. It's really subjective. It's like knowledge and skills are really objectively based on how much they understand and how much studies, and then people can see that. But even though it's not easy, but we're gonna mention about attitude and values. Maybe you can put it there, kind of hidden curriculums. They cannot see, but still we can be, right? And usually private school, a lot of them, they own agenda, like Christian schools, and then they have special programs, and sometimes they don't say specific things, but they are expecting something through the curriculum, like how can they develop the Christian values, and how can they develop the kind of attitude as a Christians, right? And what about the outcome statement are expressed in general terms, because they are not meant to be provide a list of specific behavior curriculum outcome statement, curriculum specific behavior. But curriculum outcome statement are expressed in general terms because they are not meant to be provide a list specific behavior. Just same words, and then usually even though there is no specific indication, but still, even though it's general, you're gonna make statement. And other than that, and then we don't know what we are expecting. But sometimes if we put the specific goal objectives, and then we can see, and based on that one, how our education contributed to achieve the goal of education, purpose of education, and then we can see, even though it's a general, and then based on it's now specific one, but still we can how relate to our outcome to the learners, right? Learners' achievement. So these are the curriculum outcomes that we need to remember. So this one is we really focus about this class is really thinking about what is the curriculum intent, and then curriculum intent means that what is the purpose of education. I like the use of purpose of education, and purpose of education is like there's aim is there, it's a really general broad statement, and what about the really specified, then the goal of education and objectives, and then it's like through the real classroom setting, or in specific class, and how can we achieve, right? And then just think about in this way it's a little bit easier, and then you develop the whole curriculums. Before the curriculum, once you go to schools, go to education, aims of education generally. Our school provides really like this, and faith-based education to contribute to raise the leaders who is contributing the society, blah 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 like this. They can be that is usually basic statement, but there is a specific goal is our school is a Christian-based education, and like this, and so usually the schools goals, right, and they have their own goals, and there is a specific objectives there, and then how can you, there's a curriculum, so they set the curriculum, develop the curriculum, and then each class, and they have a unique kind of knowledge and skills, and but if there is maybe vertical and the horizontal kind of relationships, is there, and then develop the curriculum, and each class plays important role to accomplish the education, right? So we talked about how can we make effective and objectives. I think this is a really pretty easy topics, but there is really important things, and most important things, because these goals and aims and goals and shapes people's attitude and people's mind and heart. Mean that values. So direction of education is really important. Yeah, that's why um, we should know what kind of education you want to do. Maybe depends on your interest, but think about as a question, and then how can we develop the curriculum. Curriculum intention is very important. How can we get all the curriculum intent, right? Already empirical studies, and then and situation analysis, and then curriculum content, also curriculum contents, and then so we have a lot of resources to get, and then specifically you gotta set the curriculum intent. What is the aims, what is the goals, and what is the object, and then we can move to next process. So I know it's kind of a little bit quick class, and because it's not that hard, because I just give you some idea about. But still, if you sit down and research and write while you're thinking about what kind of education your institution is pursuing, and it's really important. It's not a short time. Maybe if you set the right this one, rest of them may be easier. But this one shows kind of direction of education, and that's why you got all researches and data, and then still writing the things, and then discuss, and it's a lot of process. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time because it's from comprehensive to specific, right? And not just the whole time is general and too comprehensive, and then you cannot carry out anything. So you gotta narrow down to specific and to aim, goals, and the objectives. Yeah. So it's really important. So maybe lesson is it's not that long, but material is really, really important thing. So I hope that you guys really think about what is the goal of education. And then just think about if you are interested in design of education or the curriculum or program, and then you gotta know what is the purpose of education, this one. Before, what is your situational analysis, right? And then you come back and what is your goal? You already questioned the why. You already had why in the situational, and then you could already get the recommendation, and then you're gonna set, and then still you're gonna get all information from it. How can I achieve this thing? And then you're gonna set the direction. Direction is a curriculum intent, and then aims, goals, and objectives. So I don't know how much you guys, it's not a hard material today, so I hope that you guys can understand it very well, and if you have any questions, and then just let me know. Still, one thing is really hard in this to do is coming up. You gotta know what is a clear definition of the aims and goals and what is the objective, right? Clear definition and each the roles in the you gotta know the roles of the curriculum intent in the curriculums, right? You gotta know, and then for me, so a lot of I can see a lot of people who don't have any really kind of training and thinking, and narrowing down is really hard. So, and maybe like my age, and I kind of I learned philosophy and theology and provided pretty good logic, but when you come to the kind of study to like maybe narrow down to specific things, and then it's really hard, especially for writing the thesis and writing the dissertation is really hard because there's not proper education. But when I come over here, I studied psychology, and then I got trained a lot by psychology class, and then I can see how can narrow down little by little, and then trained, and then, but it was not that hard. But still, this one is kind of we need to make a statement. It's not easy, but still we gotta do that. Okay, we gotta do that, right? And so when you try to develop the program or any, and then clearly what is the aim and what is the goal is what is the object, and then object is specifically topic on each class, and how can you carry out the specific the purpose of education in the classroom, right? So, all right. So I hope that you guys have any have no problem. You don't have any problem, and if I say it over and over, it's kind of repeating, right? So I hope that you guys have a great day and wonderful weekend, and then I'll see you next week. So God bless you.